Hello, my artsy and crafty friends. This is 𝗫 h𝗂𝗃𝗃. Today, I'll be taking you through this little project, abstract watercolor circles. You can use any type of water-soluble art supply, and you'll need watercolor paper, 300 GSM, 140 pounds. Grab yourself a drink and a snack because this video runs around an hour and a half. I hope you enjoy it. And now on to the video. Here is a brief run-through of the different artistic supplies or artistic mediums you can use. For this project, it just needs to be water soluble, so you can use watercolor paints. These are handmade. These are Caran d'Ache Neocolors 2. It's important to get the 2, not the 1. 2s are water soluble. They're also a bit pricey. You can use water soluble markers. These are Tombows. They have a brush tip on one end, and they have a fine tip on the other. You can buy them as single colors online, or if you've got a really well-stocked local art store, you can also buy them in smaller sets that are all color coordinated. I highly recommend Tombows. I've been using them for forever. I love them. And then we have KingArt mixed media gel sticks. These are also water soluble. They go on kind of like oil pastels. If you've ever used those, they're really soft. You can blend them with a Q-tip, with your fingertip, or with a brush. And then I recommend, of course, you'll have to use a paintbrush. This is a water brush. You fill the reservoir with water. And there is a line on here that tells you how much water you can put in for a maximum fill. Don't go past that line. In order to work well, a water brush needs a little bit of air in it. Okay? They screw on backwards so that as you use them, they don't come unscrewed. And they come in a variety of tips. You can get these at art supply stores. Also, you know, any online outlet that sells art supplies will have them. And you may need a good black pen for outlining when we're done, if you want to do that. That is personal preference. And now to start this off, what I did is I chose a color palette at random. Now there are ways you can choose color palettes. I have this sticker book here. And let's say, you know, we don't want our colors to turn to mud. And so you've got to be careful what kind of a color palette you choose. I do have a product called the Color Cube by Sarah, it's her full name, Sarah Renee Clark, I believe. And she came out with this really amazing product. There's like 500 cards or some ridiculous amount like that in the complete set. And what I do is I pull a card at random and I work with that color palette. And this forces me to work with colors outside of my preferred palette. My preferred palette are purples, blues, pinks, yellows, lime greens, along that line. So like the other day, I created something using this palette, and today I will be working in this one for this video. Then on the back, she gives you the name of the colors, their hex codes here, and what the various shading on the colors look like. So again, I'll be looking in my set for something that matches white smoke, pistachio, dark green, burgundy, and scarlet. And I will be using the KingArt mixed media gel sticks. These are available in a variety of sets. I did buy every set. I believe there's a total of 72 colors. That would be what? 5, 6, do the math, enough, do the math. I don't know. 5 sets of 12? Is that how it works? No, that would be 60. I don't know, but you get the idea. Anyways, math has never been my strong suit. Folks, what can I say? So, this is the color palette. Now, most of you probably don't know the Color Cube. You probably never even heard of it. Plus, it is not cheap, and she just came out with a new version. I don't know what the difference is between the old and the new one. I am not getting the new one because this cost me plenty. So if you're worried about your colors turning to mud, look through any color photographs you have that are in magazines or books. And you can match your colors to the colors in that image. Like here we have a sage green for underneath the leaf. You've got a darker forest green for the top surface of the leaf. Then you've got 2 shades of purple on the flowers here. And you see how all that works together. That's how you find a color palette. Oh, here's a really good example here. You've got a very pale pink. Then you've got a rosier pink. You've got a darker pink here for the shadow. And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 shades of green you can use. So that would make another color palette. You can look online for images and use the color palette in those images. You don't need to buy special cards or books or anything like that. Again, this is just a sticker book that I bought off of Amazon. And any color photos will do where you're looking at it for a color palette. Just choose something that has a variety of colors in it. See, all these colors go together. That image looks nice to the eye because these colors are compatible with one another. You know, and most colors in nature are. So again, looking at images from nature, you find those compatible colors. That can be how you figure out a color palette. Here for today, and again, you need 0 drawing skills. Just get a round object, preferably in various sizes, to use as your... Hi, dog hair everywhere. I have an Australian Shepherd. If you know, you know. Circles in a variety of sizes. You can use the bottom of bottles. You can use lids. You know, I've got 2 sizes there. Here's another one. You can use dishes, glasses, whatever's round. Okay, we're going to work with circles. Since I'm using this card, this is basically how you match your colors. Just take the card, or again, if you've got a photo that you're using, like here's the photo that Sarah Renee used to create her palette here, her suggested palettes. You've got the red cranberries, you've got the leaves, you know, you've got the knife handle here. You know, all these colors match somehow. So you just take it, or take your photo or whatever it is that you're using, and run it along whatever medium you're using, watercolor, Tombows, as long as it's water soluble. For this abstract art project, you will need water soluble. And just run it along and match up those colors as best you can. So that's all I'm doing here. Like there's a raspberry here that matches really well. I'm going to use that. These boxes can be a booger to open. It's upside down. So see, here is the raspberry. Look at the card again. I don't know. It's a little orangey. I need something a little bit redder. Now, she calls it scarlet on her card here. That to me is not scarlet, but anyways, maybe that's just me, but I'm not going to use that one. So see, and that's what you do. You got to kind of figure it out. And then here are more pastels. And I already know that's the lightest gray in this set for the white smoke color. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that one out, because the gray in the standard set is pretty dark. So I already know I'm going to have to use this gray. Okay, so I'm going to pull that one out. And I don't think there's anything else here that matches. Nope. Set that one aside. So I've already got my white smoke. And this, I believe, goes lighter on the paper. Plus, I can water it down. So it's not going to come out as dark as that. And then we go We are now in the standard set, which is 36 colors, and I will show you the difference in the grays from the pastel and the standard. There you go. It's almost like night and day, right? So that's why I know I have to use this gray to be in keeping with this randomly pulled color palette. Now, I just go in. I'm going to try to match up these greens as best I can. Yeah, it's going to be that green. And maybe this one. I think those are the only greens in here. Yeah, there's blue greens. Let me look at the pastels right quick. Maybe I can find a better match. That one's got a little too much blue in it. Yeah, you're not going to get it exactly right. You know, your colors might be a little bit darker, a little bit lighter, but they will still work together because you're matching them up as best you can to the colors in the photo you're using, the reference photo, or if you do have palette cards like this, you're just doing your best to match it up. It doesn't have to be exact. So with these, I will be using from the pastel set, Cool Gray. I've got burgundy from the standard set, dark green from the standard set, olive green, I believe that's in the pastels, and then raspberry, which I believe is also in the pastels. All right, the next step is to arrange your colors from light to dark. We will be applying the lightest color first and then working our way up toward dark. That way you further prevent your colors from muddying up. And be sure to have your round templates. Again, they can be items from around your house. If you have a compass, go for it. And have at least 3 different sizes of circles. The eye and the brain, they like to see things in 3s. And start with the largest circumference. Now that could be a plate, all right? Let's say you do have a plate. Let's say it's rather a larger circle. Isn't this gorgeous? I love this. This is from the Quirky Cup Collective. She's online. She's in Australia, and I don't even know if she makes this plate anymore or not. But we're gonna, oh, they're gonna turn it upside down now. So take your largest circle, okay? We are not using pencil in this project. No pencil. Pencil bad. Not really. I use pencils. Just not in this project. Well, hello. Hello. Come here. Come here. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Come here. This is my kitty cat. Come here. Here, can you get under the camera? Can you? No. No. Can you see her paw? There's her hair on my paper. Say hi. Say hi, Blue. Hi, Blue Star. No, she's not having it. She's purring, though. She wants me to hold her, and I can't hold you right now, sweetie. I'm sorry. There you go. There you go. Okay. Yeah, she is 13 now, and we got her when she was 9 months old. She's a rescue, and last 2 years, she has just gotten to be ultra lovey and just all over the place, just wanting to be petted, wanting to be picked up and cuddled. Yes, honey, I'm sorry I can't do it right now. Mama's working. Okay, you take your lightest color. Start with your largest circle, okay? Take your lightest color. Now, with it being so big, do not put the whole circle on the sheet of paper you're using. Oh, and 140-pound 300 GSM paper is fine. That's what this is. It's Artist Loft from Michaels. Let me show you the cover. Sorry about that. Hang on. That's the paper I'm using. Artist Loft, 140-pound, 300 GSM. Canson makes this as well. That's a good practice paper to use. So is Michaels. I would not do this on your best watercolor paper because, again, we're just having some fun here. You just need some decent paper upon which your colors will move and blend and all that. Okay. And I would kind of do it just kind of off center in the middle. And you can also line your paper with washi if you want a nice white border around your piece when you're done. Also, it's going to be up to you whether or not you add color to your background. But see, we get a nice outline, and now we know that circle is going to be this light gray. Okay, let me get the cap. Now, I would do 3 circles in the same size because, again, the brain likes things in 3s. So for the second one, and I'm going to do this color. This, again, is the raspberry. And again, I'm going to let my plate go off out of the frame here. Go up a little bit so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So you see, I'm not putting the whole plate on the paper. It's a little bit off. This is going to help your eye to move along the design you're creating once it's done. Yeah, that's not dark enough, but oh well. So there's that circle in that size. And we'll do one more. Go up here. Now this is going to be where they intersect. So now I'm using the burgundy. And I just draw right over the line I made for the other circle. And now we have 3 large circles on the paper. I'm going to go ahead and cap that. I'm going to go to my medium. I'm going to use the lid for the next largest circle. And again, I'm going to go a little bit off the paper here. I'm going to go to this lower corner. And again, I'm going to outline the lid right through that gray circle I made earlier. And then again, these 2 colors are going to blend later. Oh, look, it wrote right on the lid there. So there's one. Let me get my cap on. It's not absolutely mandatory that you recap these immediately. I just do that because the caps are clear and I don't want to lose them. And then we take this dark green and let's go right here. And we just trace. Very simple. It's going to give us nice, perfect circles. Whoops. Sorry if my head got in the way. There we go. There. That worked. Okay, and let's see. We got 2 greens in that size. Let's do the burgundy. And I'm going to go down here and go, let it overlap with the, what color was this one again? Raspberry, which looks terracotta to me, but all right. They did not hire me to name these colors. If they had, they would have been named correctly. Okay. There's that circle. It doesn't matter if your outlines are heavy or light, as long as you can see them and you can tell what the corresponding color is. Okay, so now we have 3 circles in our second largest size template. Then we go to the 3rd largest template. So now I'm going to be using the base of this bottle. This lid gives me another template, should I choose to use it, but I don't think I will. I'm just going to use the bottom here. And I'm going to go back to my gray. And now, of course, the smaller circles, if you want to put them on the page, you know, full size, you can. There is no rule against that. It just looks nicer when the larger circles are a little bit off the paper. It makes your design look a little bit more organic. Okay. This is not wanting to work too well. Did I get it over here? Here we go. So there's one. There's a gray. Yeah, I'll use the lighter green. Also, if you do have some really dark colors in your color palette, be sure to keep them separated on the paper. Don't put all your dark colors in one area and all your lights in another area. Try to get them to mix, because your blends, once we start blending the colors together, will look prettier, and you'll be able to see what your wet medium is capable of. Okay, so that's now 2. And I'm going to put one up here, kind of off center and off the paper. And I'll do dark green up here. This will be interesting. When it blends, it'll probably give us kind of a muddy brown, but that's okay. There we go with that one. That's 3 of every size circle. Now this is my smallest one. I may not want to go that small. I may want to turn this over. Yeah, I'm going to turn this one over. And let's see, how many of each color do I have? I've got 2 dark greens. I've got 2 grays. Okay, I want another gray, and let's see, I've got 2 light greens. I'm going to want another gray and another light green. My lighter colors in the palette I'm using. Because again, I don't want it to be overrun by dark colors, and then once I start blending them, getting the piece to look too dark, too murky. If I'm going for a certain mood, then yeah, I would do that. But I'm not. And again, you don't have to get them, positioned exactly in the center or anything like this. This is abstract. The only exact thing about this piece are the circle shapes. And it's just having fun with art supplies. Taking a break from the craziness that is the world today and relaxing, having some fun together. If you, just hit the dish there. If you are creating with me, please drop in the comments what you're making. You can be going with circles. You can be using another shape. You could be using stencils if you have some stencils in your collection. Let me know what you're doing. I am curious. I will be posting these pieces to my Instagram and to my Substack. I have 2 Instagram accounts. Actually, I have 3, but I don't use one. One is for my art channel, and that is the, what's it called again? Senior moment. Analog Creativity. Analog spelled with the UE at the end of analog, and then creativity is all one word. That'll be up here on the screen, also in the description below. And then over on my Substack, which is also Analog Creativity, all one word, .substack.com. And starting this week, I will be announcing ahead of time. Let's see, that's 3 that size. Okay, it was a small size. I will be announcing ahead of time over on my Substack what I will be doing for my YouTube channel and the color palette I will be using. So if you do want to create with me, you can discover ahead of time what I'll be doing, and you can either have the same colors on hand and be ready to go when my video uploads, or just be ready to do a very similar project if you'd like to create with me. Okay, so that's the smallest one. That was 2. I guess I need 1 more. Do the dark green in the corner down here. And like I said, it can be off-centered. Okay. Now I think I'm done. You know, you can stop creating circles whenever you want to. It also depends on the size of your paper. Okay, now I'm going to start on the right-hand side since I'm a lefty. Most of you will be beginning this on the left-hand side. And what we're going to do is we're going to color in each circle with the corresponding color. And then I'll show you in a second what we're going to do when the colors overlap. So this larger circle here, I'm going to color that in first. That's gray. And just very lightly, these gel sticks, they do not require a lot of pressure. And they deposit a lot of color on the paper all at once. That's what I like about them. And most of these colors blend really well. A couple of them don't blend too great. I forget which ones, but watch this light gray. Okay, so see, that's what I'm doing. This whole big circle, I'm coloring all this area light gray, but I'm also being careful not to allow the light gray to run across the lines for the other circles, so I can keep track of which circle is going to be which color. Okay, now I'm going to go up here to the corner. This was a burgundy color, and I'm going to color in just the burgundy section. I'm not going to go over this light gray at all. You see that? Same over here for this little bit that is going to overlap the green. I'm just going over it with the burgundy. I do have a little bit of gray here that I missed, so I'm just going to put a little dot of color in there. There we go. And now I'm going to go with the light green. I'm going to color in this circle. And again, I am just adding color to the areas of the green circle that do not overlap other colors. Because then when we blend them with water, we'll be blending them across and they'll blend and we'll get some sort of weird, probably some weird looking mess. I don't know. This is an experiment, my friends. By the way, I have not tried this project ahead of time. So we'll see what we end up with. And then I have another circle down here, the same color. Again, I'm being very careful not to run this lighter green over the gray as I color in this green circle. Now here's where you have a decision to make. I can continue coloring in the green circle if I want to, or I can make this whole area dark green. But in keeping with the rule up here, where I stopped over that gray circle, I'm going to go ahead, see with the burgundy, I didn't go over the gray, even though the burgundy circle extends over the gray. Over here, this dark green circle extends over the light green, but I'm going to go ahead and continue with the light green and treat that light green, at least through this part, like it's the circle in the background. Okay. And then I will take the dark green and go over this little section right here. And then what we can do now is we can stop and start blending our colors. Now these water brushes are really cool because you don't need water. If you've got a paper towel, you can run them through. And you just gently squeeze them until you get water down into the bristles. You see the water on my fingers now? Oh, it's coming out a little bit. You can also control the amount of water on your brush that way. Keep a paper towel handy. In between colors, you'll want to be cleaning your brush off if you're using one of these. If you're using a regular brush, then just have some clean water and rinse your brush out in the water. That'll work. And I'm going to go again to the lightest color, and I'm just going to start blending it on the paper. And again, I have no idea how this is going to turn out. I kind of have an idea. I'm hoping. I am hoping. And go ahead and blend out that line you used to create your original circle. And then come over here to this other gray. I need a little bit more water. Squeeze to my brush a little bit. And you just get that to blend as best you can. Take your brush and clean it a little bit. Get some more water down into the bristles. And then go over that burgundy line. Try to stay on the line. I just kind of push the water onto it. So you're not really pushing that burgundy out into the gray, but you're getting it wet. You're activating that burgundy. And you're just going to get maybe a little bit of a blend. See, there it goes a little bit. The more water you add, the more that burgundy color will blend into the gray. You see that? Ooh, that looks pretty. I'm going to leave it just like that. I'm not going to do anything else to that part. I'm going to come over here to the rest of the gray. I'm going to go to this large gray section here. I'm going to need more water, so I'm just squeezy on the brush here. Don't overdo it. You don't want the water to just drip on your paper. And then again, just work to blend that color. And, you know, if it's a little too light in spots for you, go ahead and add more color. That's perfectly fine. But you see how I'm saying some of these don't blend very well? I can kind of see those lines I made with the gray. So you might have to scrub down into the paper a little bit with your brush. So it's good to use inexpensive brushes for this project. I should have stated that at the beginning. I don't want anyone ruining their good brushes. And again, just use the water to move that color around to get it to look the way that you'd like. Need more water, just squeezy. And we continue to blend in this shape. And if you get some color into the gray from the line of another circle, that's not a big deal. Now, again, this is abstract art. There are no real rules. Okay, then I'm going to blend the gray inside this small section. Then I'm going to take my brush and run right over those lines again. Get that green. It's going to kind of disappear, I guess. I'm going to come over here into this gray and this little bit here. Okay, come into this gray, blend it. It's a smaller piece of circle right here, so it's going to be a little darker. Then I'm going to squeeze again on my brush. I'm going to clean it first. Okay, now I'm going to squeeze on my brush again, get a little bit more water up into the bristles, and run it along just this part of that circle, trying to get this to blend. It may take a few attempts, but it'll work with any water-soluble medium that you're using. And if you want to blend it out further into that gray, you can do that too, and you'll end up with a different color right here. You see? And then clean your brush and move on. I'm going to go down here to this area of gray now. Squeezing my brush to get some more water to come out. Another reason you tape down the edges of your paper is so that it doesn't curl up on you. Watercolor paper, the ones that are less expensive, usually have wood fiber in them, and that wood fiber will shrink when it comes into contact with water. And that's why the less pricey watercolor papers will crinkle or warp on you. But if you tape down the edges with washi tape, you can avoid a lot of that. Another trick you can do as you're working on your piece, well, when you're done with it, actually, if you're using watercolor paper that isn't, you know, very expensive, you take your heat gun or your blow dryer, turn the paper over and dry it, blow dry it from the opposite side. that will remove a lot of the warping. And then, of course, you obviously will also dry it from the front side. And if you don't have a heat gun, you can use a hair dryer, blow dryer. And if you don't have that, you can allow your piece to air dry. And when it's all dried, just take it and put a bunch of heavy books on top of it. And that will help to get it flatter. It won't completely flatten out using that method, but it'll look better after a while. Yeah, this shade, what was it called again? Raspberry does not really want to break down well with the water. So, you know, we work with what we have. Then I'm going down over here to this gray area. I just squeezed my brush one more time to get more water to come through the bristles. You can quickly get that gray to blend. You see how well that color blends compared to the raspberry. And we'll see when we get to these full raspberry circles how that's going to look. So now I'm just blending out the light green there into the gray, and I'm going to come down here to this light green and blend it all out. This shade of green is blending quite nicely, easily and quickly, which is what I was hoping all these colors would do, but obviously it's not going to work that way. Then I just go over that gray line, just follow the line, take your time. I'm only hurrying because I don't want to keep you all here for half the day. Okay, let's see. Go ahead and blend that out a little bit. You can also go back to these colors and blend them further once you're done with your piece. If you find areas that look a bit too, you know, streaky to you or whatever, you can even add more color. You know, it's up to you. So I'm taking this light green, blending it all out. And I'm just going to run my wet brush across that dark line in one direction, run it along the line in the opposite direction. It's okay if you get it on top of your washi tape. And then just kind of blend that color out lightly with your brush. And getting a little bit of a painterly effect. It would look a lot better with watercolors. I just wanted to use these gel sticks because I really enjoy working with them. And then I'm blending out this dark bit of green here. And this line. And I'm going to take it and go over the light green just a little bit into it. This looks almost like shading. You know, the highlight is here. You've got the shadow over here. That's actually pretty cool. I'm going to come back up here to this lighter green and blend it out. And again, I want to be sure all my wet medium over here is going to be dry before I continue working on this piece, because I don't want to be dragging my hand through it and smearing it. So that's why I am adding color to this in sections. And I recommend that you do the same, because even if you're not left-handed, if you start on the right-hand side of the page, you can still run your hand through that wet paint and smear your work. I'm just going to run over the gray a little bit. Clean my brush. going to come here through this burgundy, blend it in one direction, lift up, blend it in the opposite direction. Allow the water to sit on there a couple seconds, and then start blending it out with quick, small strokes to get that color to move outward away from the line you drew. And you can start to see a blend. And you can go ahead and carry that blend out with your brush if you want to. Or you can just let it sit. It is a matter of personal preference. Now I'm going to come up here to this dark color in this corner section here, and blend it. Oh, that's pretty, isn't it? Again, I'm keeping it within this dark circle up here in the corner, the burgundy. I'm going to clean my brush. I'm going to go in here in this small section. Clean my brush again. And I'm going to run it along that light green line a couple of times in both directions to get that color to move a little bit. I'm going to clean my brush again to get that light green off of it and come up here to this line and kind of blend it down and through that light green. There we go with that. All right. I'm going to move on here. I'm going to start up here with the dark, with the burgundy. And again, I'm just going to be loosely coloring in this circle. Again, you've got to really concentrate, at least I do, on not being heavy-handed. I do have a naturally heavy hand. And you don't have to be precious about this because we're going to be blending this all out with water anyway. So at this stage, doesn't matter what it looks like, just as long as you get even coverage of color on your paper. I'm going to come down here and do the, oh, okay, that's peach colored circle. Okay, so it's going to be this area that I color in burgundy. If you do make a little mistake like that, don't worry. Most water-soluble mediums, you can pick that up. Let me get my brush here to show you. Let's blend it, clean your brush off, blend it again, clean your brush off, blend again. It takes a little bit of patience. Also with watercolor paper that is less expensive, be real careful not to create a hole in your paper doing that. Okay, now we're going to go here with the gray. And I'm going to, let's see, this side is going to be gray, the right side. And once I'm all done with these, I'm going to decide what the background color is going to be through here. Or I may just leave it blank, or maybe I'll draw some shapes in there. I mean, who knows? We'll see. This large circle here is going to be this, what was it again? Raspberry. That just, it's like terracotta. I mean, come on. All right, I'm going to stop and I'm going to blend with water first because, again, like I said, I don't want to drag my hand through it. So I'll start with this gray since it's the furthest toward the right-hand side that I've got here. Like I said, some of these colors blend much easier than others in this set. And I guess it's got to do with the pigments that are used for the color. You know, some pigments move much easier on paper than others. Then I'm just going to blend out this edge, soften it up a little bit with the water, and just kind of gently drag that color in toward the circle. I don't want to go outward with it. I want to go in toward the circle. And there we go. Then I'm going to clean my brush right quick and go down to this lovely burgundy. And blend it. I'm going to clean my brush and run it along that very edge of the circle to blend out that burgundy a little bit. So I'm going to come up here, blend out the edge of the burgundy. I'm going to clean my brush, make sure I don't have very much water on it. I'm going to run it right in this tiny section of gray here. And that's all I'm going to do for that. So now I'm going to take this and decide. This is where you decide, do you want the color of the circle to go all the way through here, or do you want to make each of these smaller circles its own separate color, and then this would be basically in the background? And I've already decided I'm going to make each of these smaller circles their own outlined color, and then their background will be that misnamed color, which now I can't even remember because in my brain it's been misnamed. Go in with the terracotta. Oh, terracotta. Here I am calling it terracotta. The raspberry. Oh my gosh. I'm going to go back up in here with the dark green. And over here. And this last circle here will be gray, and then I'll decide what to do about this. Also, when you have questions about, you know, like for example, like what color should this be? Get up and take a couple of steps back and look at your piece and then decide. When you're right on top of it like this, it can make it difficult to make decisions of that nature. But as you stand back, you get a better point of view, you know, looking at it from a slight distance, and you can better figure it out. So I'm going to stand up now, and I'm also going to tilt it in various directions. I still don't know what I should do about it. I just realized I don't have any terracotta over here. I should have made this terracotta and the background gray. I'll redo that in a second. I'm going to go ahead and make that. See, I'm saying terracotta again. Raspberry. It's raspberry. I'm going to make this raspberry. Okay, now I'm going to come back over here and just color right on top. Again, I'm leaving this alone because it intersected with the gray and the green. That'll look interesting. All right, then I take my brush. I'm going to blend over here first because, again, I'm a lefty and I don't want to smudge the other areas of my artwork. This is interesting, isn't it? Now I'm going to come up over here and I'm going to do this dark green up here because it's pretty much out of the way up here. I just realized this should have been dark green too. Breaking my own rules over here. But I can do that because I made these rules. And you know, you can do what you like on your piece if you're painting along with me. And again, if you are, let me know what you're doing. And, you know, if you'd like to tag me on Instagram, feel free, you know, do the @ and then analog creativity, and I will see that you've tagged me and I will check out your piece. I would love that. I would love to see what you're making. Okay, now I'm going to do this gray. But I am going to do this over in the dark green. I don't have any dark green over here on the right-hand side. And I just run my brush along this raspberry line. Alrighty. I'm going to go in and do this dark burgundy next. Dark burgundy, just burgundy. It's the darkest color on here. You can see how it's looking really light at the top. If I want, I can add some more color and darken that up later. Right now, I'm just going to blend what's down on the paper. And if there's something I don't like later, I can always add. Another thing you can do with your piece, once you're all done with all the blending, you could go over it and draw in shapes and stuff and details with colored pencils. You know, colored pencils will work on top of this just fine. I would not recommend you do another water-soluble medium. Like if you're doing the gel sticks, I definitely do not recommend you go over it with watercolor pencils or watercolors, because it's going to blend right into the colors already on your paper and you may end up with mud. Unless you go over it with the matching color, you know, the color nearest the base color that matches it from another wet medium. So say you got a set of, say you're using watercolor paints and you've got a set of Tombow markers, you can match up marker colors to those that are closest to the watercolor colors already on your paper, and then go over it with the Tombows if you want, or colored pencils. Again, carefully, well, with colored pencils you don't have to be careful because they're not water soluble. If you're using watercolor pencils, then yes, you would again have to be careful about matching up colors, because those watercolor pencils will blend, and they will blend with the medium underneath them. Now I'm going to do the raspberry. This is just a nice, you know, somewhat meditative and quite relaxing practice, really, just to draw some shapes and then color them in whatever colors you'd like, or again, follow a specific palette you get from a photograph, a multicolored sticker like what I showed you in that botanical sticker book, or even something like this. wait, I'm going to do that last. So I've got more raspberry over here. And always remember to be blending the lighter color first. If you've got a light next to a dark, like I do here, I'm going to blend this raspberry color first, and then I will blend the gray. Then I'll go back and do the dark green and this burgundy. Because if you blend the dark colors first and you go in and try to blend your lighter color, you can pollute it with those darker colors. If that's the look you're going for, that's fine. But, you know, for this particular piece, we're wanting to be able to see the circles through our blending work. Yeah, it's spring. We've got gnats in the house. Oh my gosh. I just did a home remedy right before I started filming to hopefully control the little critters. You just, and I Googled this. I don't know if it works. I'm trying it for the first time. You just get a bowl and fill it with a cup of apple cider vinegar. And then put a layer of dishwashing soap across the surface. The apple cider vinegar is supposed to attract them into the bowl, and then they'll get stuck in the soap and won't be able to get out. So hopefully that will take care of Mr. and Mrs. Gnat and all the little natty babies they've been having. Because otherwise, I can't figure out why they got in. We do have some plants in here. So I don't know if they got in and decided to infest those plants, because they just seem to be just hanging out, not doing anything specific. Now I'm doing the gray first because that's the lighter color. So, you know, come back next week and find out if I was successful with the gnats. I'll try to remember to state that in my follow-up video. I post twice a week. I post on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think last week I did a third video. Was it on here or my other channel? I get confused. My other channel is called Nefer the Cozy Intuitive Creative. And over there, that's the channel for my main business that I've had for, can you believe, 20, how long has it been now? See, my daughter is going to be 28 in September. Oh, holy crap. And oh my God, in December, it's going to be my 30th anniversary. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. That's crazy. 30 years. It sure as heck doesn't seem like 30 years. I am a professional tarot card reader, and I also read Lenormand cards, oracle cards. I am certified in Angel Card Mastery by Kyle Gray, who is famous for his angelic oracle decks he's had published with Hay House. And I have my own deck I've published with Schiffer Books back in 2015. The Egyptian Lenormand. It is multi-award winning. Check it out. It's on Amazon. I'll try to remember to put a link to it below. I'm so bad at self-promotion. You know, I put links in my videos to all the well, not all, but all the materials, most of the materials that I use that I can find the links for. And on my spiritual channel, do I link to my Egyptian Lenormand? Nope. I need to start doing that. Gosh. But here you go, just blending out the colors. It's okay if the circles get a little bit imperfect. I'm going to go over this little bit of burgundy, and then I'm going to decide what to do about the background, and I also have to go over the part of the circle with the dark green. Okay, where's my dark green at? See, and I just remember where the light green intersects over here, so I don't go over that line. Oh, maybe I did. Shoot. Oh, well. See, you can get it to look like almost 3D. Okay, almost finished. Now I just got to figure out what to do about the background. Huh. Another thing too, you know, it's abstract art. It can be oriented any way you prefer. If you prefer portrait, that's fine. You prefer landscape, that's fine. You wanted to go this way, you wanted to go that way, you know, any direction will work. But one of them will be more pleasing to your eye than the others. So use that one. Oh, let me see. You know what? I think I'm going to get a black and just color in those background areas black. I think that'll help to make all the colors pop. Oh, come on. These things are so hard to open. I really like the trays that they're in. I don't know, though. I should probably get like a lighter and maybe apply a little bit of heat here to get this plastic to stretch out a little bit. I don't know. Maybe WD-40? Because they are so hard to open. I'm going to get out the white too. And I'm going to color in the background black. A little bit up here in the corner. All right, and I'm going to come here. Don't go all the way up to the edges. If you're doing this along with me, leave a little white border, because if you go all the way up to the edge, what'll happen is you might run some of that black into your circles as you're blending it. So be careful. Don't go right up to the edge if you can help it. And if you do, you'll just have to be extra careful when you're blending it with your paintbrush. And just take your time. Now for this, for the black background, I would go slightly heavy-handed, because you're going to want that background to be really dark. And again, if you don't get it dark enough, you can always add more color and go over it again. But then there's a second opportunity to mess up too. So something like this, try to get it right the first time. And there's one more piece over here. And that's it. Okay, where'd my lid go? With the white, I may add some highlights on the circles here. I don't know. The first thing I want to do is blend out that black. And I was using a flat brush until this point. I'm going to switch to a round. Because some of these black areas are pretty small. See, I've got this size. See the larger? I'm going to definitely use the medium. I don't know what happened to my small. That brush really makes its way around my house. It like goes all over. Okay, I'm going to go... Oh my gosh, I'm going to turn it this way. And don't be afraid to turn your paper around, especially when you're finishing up and you're adding black. Again, you definitely don't want to be running your hand through it. If you're a lefty, be sure the wet area is to your right. If you're a righty, be sure the wet area is to your left. And then you shouldn't have any problem. What you could do to avoid all this and save yourself some time is use a black Sharpie. I kind of wish I had thought about that now. Oh well. I know for next time. You notice I've gotten quiet. It's because I'm trying to concentrate. Sorry about that. And I don't like filming voiceovers just because it takes enough time to edit these videos. If you do a voiceover, it's like editing the video twice. So I will rarely do voiceovers on my videos because of that. Okay. Ooh. Oh, we got this corner up here too. Forgot. I see some unevenness over here that I have to fix. There. Come over here to the center. Always turning my paper. Again, do not be afraid to turn your paper. Start from the center and then move toward the edges of your circles. And keep turning your paper. Be sure the wet area of your paper is opposite your dominant hand. And just remember, if you do make a little mistake, don't sweat it. This is just practice. It's just fun. This isn't going to end up in the Smithsonian. Unless, of course, you know, you do become a famous artist and then you die. That's the only time you'd have to worry about this, but you'll be dead, so it won't matter. Again, just take your time as you get toward the edges of your circles. Make smaller strokes if that helps, or make one long, slow stroke if that helps. That will depend upon how steady your hand is. I fractured my left radius in 2022. I fractured it in 3 places, and the doctor told me it would have been better off I'd broken it. And for 2 years after that injury, I didn't have good hand control in my left hand. I had to be sure that the artwork I did, that I wasn't working on really fine details in my pieces because I couldn't do it. My hand would, you know, start to shake a little bit because that radius was, you know, still healing, having some issues. Now it's okay. But for a long time, I didn't know if I was gonna really be able to do commissions again. I was really, really depressed and heartbroken. But I can. I do visionary artwork. I connect with a person's energy in meditation. Once I have their permission, they place their order with me. And I receive visions of symbols, shapes, colors. And usually the vision includes everything in the composition. The composition is there in my brain, in my mind's eye, and then I just draw out what I see, and I make a swatch card of all the colors that I'm seeing, so I know what colors to use on every part of their, what I call a soul portrait. And it is like receiving your own personal tarot card. And I'll try to remember to include a link to them below. I don't think I've ever done that either. I'm really bad at self-promotion. Oh my gosh. But there you go. It's done. And again, if you're on Instagram, please tag me at Analog Creativity if you give this a try and let me see your beautiful creations. I would so love to see them. And again, you can orient it from any direction. I'm going to go ahead and do the tape peel now. Always pull away from your painting. I also make a point of using cheap washi tape that doesn't have a whole lot of sticky to it, so it comes off easier. Now, if your washi tape is stubborn, use your heat gun or your blow dryer and blow along it for a couple seconds, and that will loosen up the sticky on there, and then it should come up a whole lot easier. And again, just pull from the opposite side. I've actually had this washi tape on this particular piece of watercolor paper for like about 2 years. Because I was going to do something else with it, and then I just never got around to it. And I thought, oh, I'll just use it for this project. But there you go. And then you can always go back in with your black marker or a Sharpie and draw designs within the circles if you want. You know, we'll do another piece at a later date where we do that. Okay, I don't have enough time to put that all in one video, or maybe I'll film a part 2 for this. I'm going to go in and add some highlights. Nothing major. Decide ahead of time what direction the light is coming from for your circles. The highlight should be all on the same side of each circle. So when I imagine highlights, I always imagine them coming down from the upper right. So the sun is here, shining down on my artwork. So all the highlights are in the upper right-hand side. All the shadows are in the lower left-hand side. For this, I'm not doing any shadows, especially since I've got that black background anyway. But I am putting in the highlights, you know, and again, it's just a little bit here and there. And these are really nice, these gel sticks, because, I mean, look at that. You can do the white highlight and take your finger and kind of blend it in a little bit so it's not so startling. And that way, they are very, very much like oil pastels. If you've ever used oil pastels. Some of these circles will have highlights, some won't, because again, the light's coming from the upper left, your other left, Neffer, the upper right. So like this circle, for instance, extends off the paper up here. So the highlight's going to be up here somewhere off the paper. So this circle won't have any highlight. Same for this one. This one has a little bit up here. This one, again, no highlight. This one, the highlight's kind of over here. So, you know, you got to put the highlights where they fit, where they logically fit. And vary their size. You know, the larger the circle, the larger the highlight's going to be. And this is going to be the largest highlight on the page. And there we go. All done. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please give this video a like. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. If you are subscribed, thank you so very, very much for coming back. Appreciate you so much. And until next time, this is 𝗧𝗺𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗃, and I'm wishing you all a very blessed day ahead.